Hello, you beautiful, awakened, and evolving souls. Welcome to another video where we're going to get abstract with these three primal distortions of the law of one, which is free will, love, and light. Three words that we hear a lot, not only in the law of one, but in spirituality in general. So before I get started, usual caveat, these are concepts that are sort of an introductory way to talk about these terms, these ideas, or this terminology in general that we use in the law of one. So if you want to investigate more, there's always a lot more content that you can find. Especially I make, obviously, the raw material series where you can get the most. And I think the best is just reading and rereading these sessions and the books in general. So with that, you know that anything that I make, I'll always leave it here if there's anything related. And we can plunge ourselves into these three words that are so crucial when we're talking about spirituality in general, or even metaphysics in physics itself. You know, there is this idea that there is free will. And what is free will? You know, there is the idea that there is love and there is light, and those things are all mixed together in the creation. Well, in the model of the law of one, we can explore this, and I want to bring it to a practical way so we can relate to it, as opposed to just grab the concepts and live with them as, you know, per ra or per gabo. No, I want you to see it in a practical way, so you can see how your free will actually works, or how you are free will. What is love and what is light? But because we're talking about the law of one, first I need to talk about what Ra gave us as the three primal distortions. And I'll talk about what is a distortion briefly too, because that's the first thing we're gonna ask ourselves. What is a distortion? A distortion of what? And I'll get to that. But we have to explore it in the way of the creation, because everything is a creation. If you study the law of one, you'll see that Ra talks about different creations. They talk about our creation, their creations, a lot of creations, right? So there is only one creation, but just like there is only one universe, Ra uses the word universe to talk about, say, the creation within the octave of the logos or the sun. And so don't get caught up in words, and always try to get the meaning of what they're trying to say and how it's applicable to our consciousness, to how we perceive reality. I think that's the most important thing, as opposed to get it dogmatic about they use this term here or whatever. They say, you know, please check our numbers because we make mistakes. They are, I don't want to say they're humans, but in our typical phrase that we're all human, it seems like they're human too. So in any case, what is a distortion? First, we have to, and I'll jump a little bit here, because intelligent infinity is the only thing that is pure and perfect. Infinity is the only thing that we can say is indistinguishable from anything else, because it's infinite. So anything that comes out of infinity is a distortion. And so the first three distortions that exist and are the basis of reality are free will, love, and light. Ra tells us in, I believe, session 27, that there was infinity. Then infinity became aware of itself. And so with the awareness of self came free will, which is the directing of this will. There is free will, and you can see already how this matches our supposed free will that we have without the context of human experience, which is really, you know, what makes everything a little bit more cloudy. Then free will used love. It was a natural reaction for love, and love was the creative principle that impregnated light, basically, and it just manifested as light. So these three things came in sequence as per Ra, and they do make sense, which I'll make sense at the end. But you have to simply understand that free will is something that consciousness have. Consciousness has free will. Then comes love, because love is the creative principle. Anything that is created out of infinity, because infinity is itself infinite, must be love, is that sensation of love. And again, to take away the human term of love, romantic and all of that, you know that love is a synonym for acceptance and beauty and appreciation for everything that there is. And then it's not selective love. This is love with capital L, just a creative principle. So it's not even like unconditional love in fourth density. It's something even bigger. It's the simple love as a creative principle to make anything. Then light is the vehicle or the medium in which intelligent infinity is manifested. This is equal similarly to intelligent energy, which we covered before, and is important. So light is that part, that energy that manifests itself, that has everything. Light is impregnated with love and has free will. So light is already the, like I said, the vehicle or the manifestation of intelligent infinity, the creator, consciousness, whatever you want to call it, the origin, source. And so this is what a distortion is. The distortion is infinity taking a different shape, or taking a shape. And the three first shapes or distortions are free will, love, and light. From there, Ra tells us that the rest of the distortions are infinite in numbers, because it's light actually doing everything. You are a distortion, I am a distortion. Everything in the universe is a distortion of infinity as it is exploring itself. And so you can see why there are no more distortions that can be specified as a sequence, but rather that after light comes into being, then everything else just manifests and becomes what it is, what we have right now. There is no other sequential distortion from there. So what does this mean? We're coming out of the abstract. This is when I recorded session 27 and 28. I talked about the abstract visualization that we need to make in our minds to accept infinity in some way or form, which is really, you can see how our language is, I was going to say in any shape or form, but infinity has no shape or form. But you get the idea of what I mean when I say in any shape or form that you can visualize infinity, then that's the abstract beginning of everything. That infinity has free will now because it became aware of itself. And it's not like it was in a timeless state and suddenly it became aware, because then the word suddenly or at some moment has time in it. So that doesn't make sense. And here's really where our mind breaks up, and it's just easier to explore it because we are infinite. And I'll get to that at the end. But free will is the first reaction, if you will. It's just the first reaction that infinity has and says, I want to explore myself. And then it does it through love and light. That's where we get love, light, light, love, which I'll explain in another video. I have it in my list. Intelligent infinity is now exploring itself through those distortions. But here's where we get to where we are right now, the manifestation cycle, which is how out of nothingness comes light. And in the Bible, I think, if I remember correctly, Genesis, I think one of the first things that God said was, let there be light, right? So we are recapitulating the same thing or the same teaching, let there be light. You can see how whoever wrote this back thousands of years ago, in essence, had this vision of there was nothing and then came light. Maybe he was meditating, who knows? Taken away, obviously, people would say it was God who said it. Well, of course it was God. We are God. So anybody who gets in touch with themselves will actually see this. In Buddhism, we see this very often. It's the same teachings, the same understandings, but from a practical standpoint and the studying of the mind. So the manifestation cycle starts with light, and that is light now looking to explore itself and evolve. That's what brings about the evolution that we go through, not only physically, those are the beginning stages of the upward spiraling light that we talked about before in the previous video. That upward spiraling light is the evolution of light going from matter all the way back to infinity. And so that's where we have the densities of consciousness and everything else, but it does it through experience. And that experience is what we're having right now. Not only the human, but the animal and the plants and matter itself is having an experience of being changed over and over again until it becomes aware. And that awareness becomes awareness of self, and that awareness of self becomes what we're going through now, which is the opening of the heart and acceptance of the self as the creator, which is the further evolution into fourth and fifth and sixth and so on. So that evolution goes as a sort of beginning, if I can just do a crude drawing here. From there is nothingness. We can call this the singularity, right? And then we have the evolving of light, which is like a prism, and I'll just make it in yellow, and you can get all the other colors that go from the densities of consciousness and so on. I don't think I have all the colors here, but I'm just gonna get the red, the green, and the violet, which are, to me, the most, that band line is important. So what we get is the evolution of light. I'm just gonna use yellow as light, going through all of this back into singularity. This is the cycle. This is the whole process. From infinity, from the singularity, comes the manifestation of light, which goes through the prism, densities of consciousness, our energy centers or chakras, for experience. This experience is recirculated, or rather reabsorbed, which is the next point I'm actually going to talk about. It's reabsorbed into the singularity, where the cosmic mind is compressed. Everything, all the experiences are collected there. And I'm saying the word there as if there is a place and space where that is, but it really is the whole universe. You don't have to wait, you already have that. You have the whole universe in you as you speak, as you listen, as you meditate. Everything is already in you because you have a tether that from any part of the universe that you are, you're connected to the cosmic mind. But this is the process, and I won't go any further there, just to keep our minds, not too overheated. But the point is that, okay, so that's the cycle. Now, this is the systematic reabsorption that Ra talks about, and is a way in which the creator is reabsorbing all of its experiences for a new creation. You can imagine it as use your imagination. You use your imagination to create a scenario, or even write a story, and you keep doing it over and over until you get the best story you can tell, or the best imagination you can have. If you had the power of imagination strong enough to do this, you would do the same thing, because you are the creator, and this is what you want to do. You just want to explore yourself. You see, yourself, if you call yourself this, then why you imagine yourself in other bodies or doing other things that you don't do right now? Because it's the same process. You are not this one self, and you feel miserable for, I'm just poor little me. That's why I imagine things. You do this because that's just the holographic nature of the creator trying to explore itself. You are that creator. So you can see how this is the cycle of evolution, the cycle of experience, the cycle of the creator knowing itself. Now, the last thing I'll talk about is reverse recapitulation, which is something that Ra says in, I believe it's session 27. So let's read exactly what Ra said here, because I think it's important. In question 13 of session 27, Ra said this: in vibratory sense, love comes into light. In the sense of the activity of unity, in its free will, love uses light and has the power to direct light in its distortion. Thus, vibratory complexes recapitulate in reverse the creation in its unity, thus showing the rhythm or flow of the great heartbeats, if you will use this analogy. So there's a lot to get out of this one, because Ra is implying and saying, in essence, that we as the entities, when they say the vibratory complexes, they refer to us, mind, body, spirit complexes. And actually they may refer to even matter at this point, just everything in the universe, light. And that's where I'll make the interpretation of the reverse recapitulation that they're talking about here. So why is it reverse? Because the first thing that happens is the primal distortions. And so it's free will, which works with love to create light. And now what are we if not light? And in reverse, you can see that the evolution, as I painted here, is matter, which is light, becoming aware. Like I said, that's first density to second density. They become aware. And this awareness leads into self-awareness. This is the graduation of second to third density. This is light doing its play in the first three densities. This light then becomes aware of the self, and in third density, which is where we are right now, we're in the process of light becoming love. Now, we're seeing in reverse what is light doing to return to unity. It's going through love, the density of fourth density, the density of unconditional love. And so by realizing that everything is love, it goes with its free will, which is the decision that we make, into unity, into accepting unity. And so we as vibratory complexes recapitulate in the creation, the whole creation. We do it in reverse. Light becoming love through free will, going back to unity, which is the three creative principles. And this is what they call the heartbeat. Why? For the same reason. You can see it here. This is the heartbeat pumping out the blood of life, which is light, and then returning it back into the heart of beingness in reverse. So you can see the flow of the heartbeat, like they say, and this is going infinitely. This is the infinite cycle of the creation. Now, the last thing I'll say, and that I promise you, is that you can even do this exercise because you are that portion of the creator. You are that aspect of the creator. You're not even a portion, like we can divide the creator. You are that creator in a holographic, crystallized little beingness here that is exploring the self in these conditions. But you can explore this in the same way. Let's go from the primal distortions. You can return to unity at any moment. This is something, it's not even a return. You can reveal your unity by quieting the mind. You simply, and I'm saying this is simply, but let's just say in a hypothetical, which I don't know, you may be able to do it now, but it's something that obviously requires cultivation of the mind. But when you return or simply reveal the self, the one self, you are with infinite consciousness. You are no longer bothered or tethered by time and space. You simply recognize that essence that you are, that one consciousness, that permanence in you. That is infinity. Now, infinity, you can stay there in infinity for as long as you want. That is being in the eternal now. From the eternal now, you can actually go and explore the world, which is an illusion, with your own free will. That's the first thing you have. The first step is free will, which is free will is the direction of infinity. Free will is what you are. Like I said at the beginning of the video, you are infinity exploring itself through the modulation of the mind, which becomes finite, to explore itself. Infinity can only explore itself through the finite mind. And once it does this, this is the free will. When we say we have free will, it's more appropriately to say we are free will, because what we have is an infinity of possibilities. Yet our mind and our focus of life, what it does is that it selects, I'm going to see this, I'm going to listen to that, I'm going to do this action. So there is no agent actually doing, there is no self or separate self doing the things, but rather there is the quality of free will in you. Now, you realize that everything is out of love. You know that the whole creation is love before it becomes light, because it's you. You are creating this whole life. You are creating this whole universe in your mind. And that is through love. The more you accept this, the more you are in line with the primal distortions and unity, actually. The infinity that becomes or comes out of our beingness. And finally, how do you perceive it? Through light. You can only perceive the creation through the manifestation of light. And love is simply the basis of, that's why it's called the creative principle, because everything is created out of love. You know because you are aware. And through your awareness is that you can appreciate the light with love by free will, which you are, and the infinite part of you. So I hope this made sense. I know you can explore this a lot more. This is just one of those things that you can chew on for hours, days, weeks, years, your whole life, doesn't matter. But these are the primal distortions. They are the basis of the creation. And you can explore it, like I said, it's you. This is not something separate from you. You are that. You are that infinite consciousness. You are that free will that is what's happening right now. That freedom of will is what's happening right now. Everything is made of love because it is the only feeling, the only vibration that exists. Everything else is a modulation of that in the creation, because light is modulated by love. And that's why when we say up your frequency, well, that's bringing it up to love light, which is what we are, or light love. All right, that's all I got for this video today. I believe the next video is going to be love light and light love, because it's connected, and you can already see that I have a sort of sequence here too for these concepts, so they start making sense in a series. So hope you enjoyed. Hit the like, subscribe, notification bell, the whole thing. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you have any concept that you want me to elaborate. See if I have it in my list. If not, I'll put it in. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.